And welcome on in, everybody. It's From in here, King Pepe the Second, bringing you the latest Baroundas 2 dev notes for the future update that we are about to have. So, if you are new to the channel, if you're a new player to the game, like, subscribe. Does help me out a bunch, but you'll get all the latest from me uploading stories to uploading boss guides, etc., etc. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, I was supposed to have this video uploaded yesterday. However, I ran into a little bit of a problem because YouTube age restricted my videos, so I filed an appeal, didn't go through. So that's why this video is going to be a day late. So apologies for that. But nonetheless, I'm still going to make the video, and I hope you guys find this helpful with the latest in the dev notes, and I'll be covering. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, let me bring up my little itinerary on my other monitors because I have this, all laid out here for me. So we can just hop straight to it, right? Okay, so first thing is the new costumes. So I'm going to show their skill cutscene and then we'll talk about it, okay? So let me bring it around up. This is the lovely and sexy magical innovator Deanna. So here she is. I'm going to let them do their thing and we'll get into it, okay? Enjoy.
In combat, Diana uses summons to provide helpful buffs and support to her team.
Alright, now let's dive into the cutscene.
Okay, there is the skill cutscene. So that was Deanna, okay? So yeah, beautiful, right? Very, very beautiful and intensely. I love it. I'm sure you guys too are gonna look forward to it. So let's go read about her. So magical innovator Deanna, here she is, right? And yes, if you look very closely in the reflection of her weapon case, it does show her butt. Okay, so the first costume we'd like to introduce is Magical Innovator Deanna. The concept being introduced this time is an expansion of the existing world setting. Deanna is the head of technical support team at Edit Company. In this world, the age of magical girls has already passed. Even so, Deanna holds a deep affection for magical girls and continues to research and develop magical girl outfits herself. In battle, she uses summons to provide beneficial effects to allies. Next, this is some of it here, right? Not going to look too much into it just because, um, don't want my video to get age restricted again, okay? Now, as you clearly see, this was Olivia right here. But yeah, so Deanna's going to be a supporter, right? So she uses the summons to provide beneficial effects to allies. We do not know too much detail into this until they get closer to the release. However, I'll be covering that too as well, talking about it because it is technically still too early to really say on who to go for with this. You know what I'm saying? However, Deanna has always been a supporter in the game, from her anti-dystopia to providing like energy guard to her adventurer Deanna costume, which provides property damage increase for your team, right? And it's been quite a while since we actually did see Deanna. To be honest, it has been quite a while. But let's now look into the retired legend, Olivia. So this is her art, right? Don't want to ogle her too much, okay? Even though I want to. But let's take a look at her skill cutscene real quick, and then we'll hop straight to it, okay? Here, let me get this. Here you go. So I'm going to put it on the screen. Here she is. Enjoy.
Lies.
Okay, let's go straight to the cutscene.
So there it is. That was the lovely and sexy Olivia. The MILF we all love, right? Okay, so there she is. There's a skill cutscene. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm sure a lot of Olivia fans out there are the same way, right? Easy +5. Okay, so meet Olivia, a housewife with a past she'd rather keep hidden, and a retired legend. Once a magical girl who protected the world, Olivia now leads a quiet, ordinary life, spending her days cooking, doing housework, taking walks around the city, and grocery shopping. That piece is broken when she becomes caught up in a corporate contract war while selecting ingredients at a mart. Through these events, she reunites with Deanna, whom she knew from her past, and becomes involved with Valjean. I know, very familiar name, right? For the first time, as the story unfolds, Olivia's past as a magical girl is revealed. In battle, she deals powerful damage within a small area and grants beneficial area effects to allies. So, seems like she's going to be a sub DPS unit, right? So, this is going to be her 4th costume, by the way. So, Deanna, I gotta say, I'm very impressed. Here's the artwork for her in her skill cutscene. Very beautiful. I love the effects. Okay? And yeah, I know. The wand itself is something that... I know, it looks more than just a wand, right? Let's just say that, right? Okay. So, there are your 2 new costume releases. So, there's, like I said, it's still too early to really analyze, who to go for in this situation, how to invest in them, with the plussing, right? Team-wise, we don't know yet. So, way too early to really discuss it until they're, the dev notes drop for, like, their skills. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go check now into Ace Hunter Valjean. Now, this is going to be a very familiar name to anybody that has played the Brave 9 series, right? Now, recently, I've started playing it, right? About, a month ago? Because I was very interested in the lore and the story, and also the characters that were in Brave 9, because some of those characters, if you're not aware, are actually in Brandes too, right? Like Levia, for example, she's in there. It's one big example, actually. Dalvi is another, right? Okay, so let's go and talk a little bit about her, and yeah. So Ace Hunter Valjean, beautiful NPC. For the moment, this is how she's going to look. Yes, you did see a tattoo on her right breast. Emphasizes how badass she is, as well as a beauty. And by the way, in Brave 9, in her art, she is absolutely stunning. In case you guys want a better angle with her on how she looks, this is actually her design in Brave 9, right here. So, for main story-wise, when they get to her in the game, this is the release more than likely we're going to be getting. Okay? Just wanted to showcase that. But yeah, so the cold and calculating CEO leading the newly founded contract war company, Torii Company, Ace Hunter Valjean, proud to be in the strongest. Valjean seeks top-tier talent to bring into her company, never lowering her standards. Through this pursuit, her attention and interest turn towards Olivia. Valjean will not be introduced as a playable character at this time. She will first appear as an original character in the main story, and is planned to become playable in a future update. So keep that in mind, guys, okay? So it's like how Vina is. Like Vina in Yoma Busters, how she was introduced in there. Vina is actually the companion of Dalvi in Brave 9. So as of right now, Vina is not a playable character. So, however, she'll be one in the future update. That's why they're showcasing them, guys, okay? That's the entire reason why. So I'm very excited when Valjean and Vina do drop, however. I'm very, very excited. And in case you guys don't know, this story pack, or I should say character pack, is actually taking place in the same world as Contract Wars. The one with Mikaela, Luvencia, Seer, and Nebris. Okay? However, it's from a different perspective of, obviously, Eda's company, right? And then you have Torii Company here now, which is where Valjean is the CEO, right? And by the way, if you want to pause and, take a very, in-depth look at the skill cutscenes themselves with Olivia and Deanna, just pause the video. Feel free to, okay? But trust me, when they release, I'm obviously going to be showcasing it again, okay? But yeah, let's get into it, guys. Okay, so the new season events, Mart War. So you have, and I do love this art, by the way. I mean, damn, look at them. I know, right? The 3 older women, my God, they're so sexy. I'm sorry, but actually, I'm not sorry for saying that. But yeah, beautiful art. Beautiful, beautiful art. Okay, the new season event is Mart War. Olivia lives a quiet life as an ordinary housewife, keeping a past she would rather leave behind. That piece is shattered when a sudden explosion breaks out, and a corporate contract war breaks out inside the Mart, turning it into chaos. As panic spreads, Olivia stays calm, relying on her agility and sharp instincts. She moves past collapsing shells and flying debris. In the chaos, she runs into Valje, one of the newly founded Toray Company, as well as Deanna from Edda Company. Valje, who places talent above all else, quickly sees Olivia as someone she cannot ignore. Deanna, who knows Olivia's past, also recognizes that her abilities have not faded and hopes to bring her back into the industry. Caught between a past she wants to leave behind and the situation unfolding around her, Olivia must decide what comes next. How will her story unfold, and where will the interests of Valje and Deanna ultimately lead? Follow the story in the season event, Mart War. So there you have it. Here's some dialogue between Olivia and Valje. And then here's also a scene with Olivia, which this is most likely going to be wallpaper, by the way. So expect some spicy wallpaper as well. Okay, so this is going to be the little lobby area for the new character pack map. As you see the beds here, right? So as mentioned earlier, this Magical Girl concept is set in Cardiff City from Character Pack 7 Contract War, which is what I stated earlier. Within the same world, Character Pack 9 is planned and will focus on the story of magical girls getting by in everyday life. The next character pack is scheduled to be released in late April. Okay, so gotta wait about, another 2 months. But hey, it's totally worth the wait, right? Okay, so now we're gonna hop into the new Fiend Hunters. Okay, Abomination is a wind type. This is gonna be debuted on February 12th. So here's a look at it, right? Abomination is a wind property fiend that delivers high multi-hit attacks and applies multiple debuffs. So I guess all in all with this boss, most likely I'll be using either Leatrice and Rubia, or I'll be using Levia and Lowen. Really depends, but we'll see, right? And okay, so here is the newest boss, GNR GH01. It's a water type. It's going to be debuted on February 26th. So its combat concept focuses on delivering rapid multi-hit attacks in a tight area with certain hit counts dealing even heavier damage. And in case you guys want to see a little bit about the new boss itself, I actually have it here. Okay, so this is what it looks like, by the way. In case you want to see the little animation. It's really cool, by the way. The first thing that I thought about was Power Rangers. I'm not joking. I legit thought about Power Rangers when I first saw this, but here it is.
Okay, so we're showing this right away? Because we're not showing any reactions, it seems that it's very still and quiet.
I wanted our fans to focus on the video. That's why I wasn't making any comments.
Yeah, so I was letting you to actually enjoy the scene.
We put a lot of effort into this, so
I can tell. Yeah, so
So there you go. There is the attacks, the animations that they have. Whoops. So cool looking boss, right? I think it's really cool. So yeah. Now for the Frost Spirit return here. Okay, so apparently there was a bug issue when this boss was debuted in the 2.5 anniversary. So for Frost Spirit, it was decided that an additional rematch would be held due to a bug issue. To recreate the same conditions as the original run, a ban feature is being added to restrict the use of costumes introduced after that period. So basically, any new costume releases in the new year aren't going to be able to be used for this boss run. We are also preparing a feature that allows players to load formations from the original state. However, since Fiend Hunter formations are reset each season, this feature could not be applied to Frost Spirit. This feature will be applied starting with the next rematch. We plan to complete this feature in March, and the rematch is scheduled on March 26th, ensuring it does not overlap with other combat schedules. So I don't know what was with the bug, because when I fought this, I didn't really see anything with the bug. Maybe I didn't read the dev note updates, maybe when they had them that well, but I don't remember there being one. But apparently there was. Anyway, point is, you're going to be able to now fight, instead of 2 Fiend Hunter bosses, there's going to be 3 scheduled. Okay? And it's a water type. So the team that I used was with Tyr, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was with Tyr. So we'll see. We'll see. Gilray bosses. So we have one with the fire. I cannot pronounce his name, but it's a big ass deer. It's going to be debuted on February 12th. So the Gilray boss is I'm just going to call it the big deer boss with fire property, which has a mechanic where players gain additional beneficial effects if they have effects granted by so-and-so deer. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't pronounce it. Okay, Golden Coliseum. Okay, so there's not really much with this one. I know that Golden Coliseum technically isn't, at the moment, I'm not sure if it'll ever be, but it's not really popular with a lot of players. I especially saw that in the live stream when I was looking at it yesterday, right, in the chat. So I won't cover too much with this. Looks like they're doing some different things with the Golden Coliseum, making it a little bit more original with the layout for your teams. So as you can see in the picture, these X's on the tiles represent that you can't place any of your costumes here or characters. It's kind of like how some Gilray bosses have skills that actually do this on the field. It's basically what this is. So there's going to be, they say, matchmaking adjustments, basically. They're changing the blessing application order, right? So basically that's about it. You know? And the recharge limit will increase from 3 to 10. In all honesty, guys, I don't find it too bad, considering that it is ways to improve, you know, not improve, but to collect extra resources from the shop. I don't really mind it because you can get literally 10 free draw tickets from the shop. You can get refining crystal. You can get deco coins even, right? And other materials. So all in all, I just literally let it play out, right? I think it's a lot easier and a more of a simpler way than Mirror Wars, considering that you don't have to rely on gear. It's basically more on the cards you equip and how you put your team layout on the field. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that much to it. As in with Mirror Wars, a lot of it's based off of your stats, right? With your gear, right? And how much you plus to your characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has a little bit more to it. But anyway, I just wanted to share that in case anybody is interested. Okay, so here's the pickup information. Okay, so after January 14th maintenance, before February 11th maintenance, Grenadier Shrine Maiden is still there. She'll be added to the Powder of Hope shop. Everybody basically on this list, they'll be added to the Powder of Hope. So, just saying. Okay, so after January 14th, before February 11th, Queen of Glutis Grenadier, so Grenadier's other costume. After January 14th, before February 11th maintenance, the rerun for Onsen Manager Liberta. Okay. After January 28th maintenance, before February 11th maintenance, Onsen Sword Fighter Blade. She'll be available until then. And then after February 5th, before February 19th, the rerun for Apostle Blade. She'll be rerunning until then too. Okay. Until February 19th, by the way. After February 11th maintenance, before February 25th maintenance, this is when we get the new Magical Innovator Deanna's costume. Okay? And they are also rerunning Maid Neymar Leatrice on after February 19th and before March 5th. So she is having a rerun now too as well. Okay? So if you don't have her and you wanted her, go for her. So skill-wise with Maid Leatrice is that she basically does extra damage if the enemy is under a DOT. So basically, the order that you would put her in would be, you would use Rodev Star, which is Leatrice's main story costume. She applies burn, right? And then next rotation, right, you would then attack with Maid Leatrice, because she does extra damage if the enemy is under DOT. And also, you could use Rubia to apply burn if you really wanted to as well. Okay? So that's another thing. And then their gear-wise, they're the same set schedule for them. Okay? Grenadier's exclusive Glooty Queen runs until February 11th. Libra's exclusive gear, Dark Rosarium, is running until February 11th. Blade's exclusive gear, Blade, is running until February 19th. And Deanna's exclusive gear, White Pixie, that's going to be rerunning until February 25th. And then Leatrice's exclusive gear, Lunar Piercer, is going to be running until March 5th. So there's a schedule. Okay. Next we have on the list is the mini season event. Okay, so this is something new that they're doing. It's not too complicated. So I don't think that it's going to be another grind of story, because it really isn't. Okay. Valentine's Crackdown. So obviously we have the lovely Glacia. So I'm going to read it and let you hear your thoughts on it. Okay, so here we go. The mini season event is held separately from the regular event schedule. This was introduced to allow us to cover seasonal themes that may be difficult to address within the regular event schedule. For February, the event was created to celebrate Valentine's Day. It features a variety of content, including slice of life stories, quizzes, field quests, and an exchange shop event. So I know it might sound like a lot, but it really isn't. They're really going to be most likely very quick things to do, right? So here we have a list of some slice of life stories. So first we have slice of life stories. To mark Valentine's Day, Disciplinary Committee Glacia cracks down on chocolate making, leading to a story about her encounters with students trying to make chocolates. I love how Levy is here too, you know? So here's a little bit of, I guess, what is this? This is like the rewards. I can't read that, so I'm not really too sure. But if you can, that's awesome, and you would know what this is saying. Okay, so next is the quiz. You can answer the quiz based on the information you get while watching the slice of life story, so you gotta pay attention to the stories. Okay, so here's Glacia and Eustia. And I guess these are like the answers to the question that she poses. So when you take on the quiz challenge, you can progress through the quiz together with Glacia. During the mini-season event period, 2 quiz stages will unlock each day, and all stages can be played until the event ends. And then here we have, and looks like they're bringing back the mini-game, the Field Quest one. So in this mini-season event, a previous Field Quest mini-game will return. After reaching a certain record for a Field Quest during the event period, you can use Quick Complete to reclaim rewards. Play the Field Quest available again, and use the currency earned from quizzes and quests to exchange for various items in the event exchange shop. So we don't know, and I know you just saw that, right? But we don't know what's in the exchange shop as rewards go. But regardless, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be either materials, level up wise for gear, refining crystal, and maybe they'll have deco coins. You never know. They could have deco coins as a reward in the shop. But yeah, so in case you guys don't know this was something that was from way back in the day, before they started the VN style with Goodbye Freedom, with Levia and Luvencia. Okay? So this was something that they normally did for their seasonal events, right? They had this sort of like mini game here. So for example, and this is actually a mini game that this image here is something I do remember playing from back in the day. Basically, they had it where you either collect gluties in the fastest time possible while using your skills. So like the skill set right here being this. So like your dash skill, your increase of speed, you can use your stealth skill to get around. So you'll be able to now utilize this more. And to be honest with you guys, I actually do miss this, right? It was something fun to do, really, you know. And they also had a mini game where you collect coins. Same principle, fastest time possible. I do remember though, however, a lot of there were certain stages actually that were very difficult and challenging. Not gonna lie about that. For example, there was one where you had to actually cross traffic, and the cars were like zooming on by, and you had to like collect the coins, right? That was actually pretty tough to get around. They had another one where it was like Mission Impossible with the character pack story, right? Well, not Mission Impossible, but I forgot what it's called. But you had to avoid lasers, and I think you also had to avoid the guards and collect the coins. I think that was another one in the fastest time possible. So they had like a lot of these back in the day, along with like a story to them. So I'm really happy that they're bringing them back. Okay. So, Faded Guest follow-up story. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quick the image just because don't want YouTube saying something here. But yeah, so here it is. The lovely Teresa. If you want to like pause it, feel free to. And yes, that was a whole lot of Teresa we just saw there. Okay, to celebrate Valentine's Day, Terese returns. If you have viewed all previous Terese Faded stories, 3 additional new episodes will become available. Terese enjoys the club festival together with the master and leads the master toward the festival booths prepared by the medical club. Discover Terese's story as she prepares a special Valentine's event for the master. So I gotta say, it was an excellent choice to pick. And also do another follow-up around Valentine's Day with Terese. So excellent choice on that. So yeah, if in case you guys don't have Medical Club Terese, you can either unlock her in the Golden Thread shop, right? That's currently here if you didn't use your Golden Thread yet for that shop. You can unlock her that way because you only need her once, okay, to get the Faded Guest stories, and then obviously unlock her interaction scene along with the follow-up stories here, okay? So yeah, there you have it. Looking forward to it. I'm excited for it to stream it on Twitch, so I'll definitely be ready for that. Okay, so now we're going to move into the Fantasia Square updates themselves. So there are a lot of updates to this. Very impressed still on how many updates and quality of life that they do with these, with the Fantasia Square. So here we have them. And first, new avatar characters will be added. In February, Lowen and Nebris will be added as new characters. Both characters can be purchased using Deco coins. So there they are. We got the lovely and sexy Gyaru, Nebris, and then the lovely and shy Lowen. There she is. So there you have it, right? And also they are adding now pets to the to be had in it. Okay, so you have these pets. So you have a cat, a dog, and a little snowman, which is the one I'm actually gonna get is the snowman because I think it's really cute. So in case you guys didn't notice in the whenever you go to the mirror and you customize your look, right? There was actually an icon in the bottom that had, I think it was a cat paw. So I had a strong feeling that that was going to be a pet, right? And there's also another column there too. I can't recall what it is off the top of my head, but there is actually another column there. It's like right beside the mount, right? But yeah, I had a strong feeling that this would happen. So I'm really happy that it's going on right now. Okay, so obviously here we have Nebris being picked up. She's wearing some really sexy red lingerie. So previously interactions included patting the heads, holding up the hands, and lifting the characters, right? So additional interactions will be available with this update. When you touch the sides of a character's face, the avatar will look towards the touch point. Moving the touch point while holding will have the character's gaze follow naturally. If you quickly tap sides of the face, the character will look left and right before ending with a cute dizzy reaction. Touching the chest will result in a surprise reaction, and an additional interaction that lifts the character's body directly will be added with this update, which is probably this one. So, very excited. And like I said, I love the Fantasia Square. I'm really happy that, this was introduced during the 2.5, right? I have a lot of fun with it. The fishing is actually very fun too, and now that you can fish with your friends too, right? And if you want to like auto fish and just kind of hang out and vibe, and you're like me and my friend, how we just hang out in VC on Discord and we just auto fish and just talk about the game. That's what we normally do. But yeah, it's really fun, and also bringing some more sorry about that, but I know that was gross. But sorry, I'm still recovering, guys. But I really wanted to make this video again because I really wanted to cover it, But anyway, so now we're going to be getting into the new boat skins. So obviously we see the turtle that's being added. We're seeing a whale. And looks like a ship. So in case you guys are wondering with more boat skins that they currently have right now, these are 3 that are going to be added too. Now, you have to have your boat leveled up all the way. I know. But in the end of it all, I think it's totally worth it, But yeah, you have to have your ship leveled up. And then you're able to equip skins. Okay, so at the same time, Area 5 Atlantis, which was not open in the previous update, will now be available. So yeah, they were supposed to have another fishing spot unlocked. But apparently they didn't do it for this update we're currently in. But it'll be in the next one. So probably They most likely maybe didn't have it completed in time or something like that. But anyway, it'll be added. So yeah, very excited, right? Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the party system. So this one is basically, you know what? Let me just read it. Players in the same channel within Fantasia Square Pack can create or join a party. When creating a party, you can choose between fishing or a minigame. Once a party is created, a recruitment notice matching the selected content will appear above the host head. So here you have it, right? So it's basically another way of, I guess, like if you're with your friends online, right, or you're just with some randos, you can just like create a party. You can send invites to like mini games that they have with multiplayer in it, right? So I'm assuming this is how it works. This menu pops up, and then this is like a possible random defense. So this is one that you could actually play with. I believe it's like 4 players altogether, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually a very challenging one, by the way. Like for real, it is actually a very challenging one. But hey, it's supposed to be, right? Okay, so by tapping the recruitment notice above a character's head, you can view the content the party is running and its description. Okay. So it looks like this is an in-game chat that you have with other party members. So it's like, I guess, a waiting type area as well. So when creating a fishing party in Fantasia Square, the party is formed based on the hosted ship level and the selected area. The party is also automatically registered in the dock waiting room, allowing players to join freely from both Fantasia Square and the dock. After creating a minigame party in Fantasia Square, you can start a possible random defense or fiend hunter right away. So here you have the other ones, right? So to support minigame activity, related systems will be improved. Minigame rankings will reset every 2 weeks. To be honest with you, I don't really see a point in that, but that's what they're doing. Achievements will be added for each minigame with decoration rewards such as titles and stickers. So there you have it. So I guess this is like more of an incentive for if you play the game more. Like if you play the game more often, you'll get rewarded for it. I think that's what they're going for, really. Okay, so here's some slice of life stories. Going back to that other, the slice of life content. So slice of life stories are a type of content that features lighter, everyday stories of characters who do not usually appear in the main story. This content can be found from the Slice of Life tab in the story menu. You can enjoy it freely without worrying about spoilers, as it is not directly connected to the main story. The stories from the mini-season event mentioned earlier can also be viewed again from the Slice of Life tab. So here we have like episode 4, and you see like Glacia and Lowen, right? Slice of Life stories are composed of short, omnibus-style episodes and are presented in a visual novel format. Okay? And at the end of each story, you can see a special SD illustration. These SD illustrations will also be added as ID card backgrounds, similar to existing special illustrations. On February 26th, we'll add both the rewatch option for the 4 daily story episodes from this mini-season event and 3 new daily story episodes tied to the season event and our company universe setting. So there you have it. Unfortunately, you are going to have to purchase these. This is why I said they need to come up with a way, and I believe I said this in my last video even too, where like, since they're having so many purchases with Deco coins, and it's not just like in Fantasia Square now either, right? They're going to have to come up with ways where you can actually start collecting more of these in some way, you know? In fact, I really feel they should put Deco coins in the event shops for, when you do like, you fight the Fiend Hunter bosses and do the stages, right? And you collect the currency. I really do believe they should add Deco coins to those as well, because it is actually a lot to try and customize everything. Okay, so previous story archives. So this is the stories that I was talking about that they had back in the day. So you can view stories from previous season events again from the story menu. A total of 9 stories will be added, including Windy Cat and Idle Phantasm. So here's Levia. I believe this was actually the Windy Cat one, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, these stories were created before the visual novel format and are presented with SD character scenes. So this is what I was mentioning. This was way before Goodbye Freedom happened and before they started to do the VN style. So this is it. You'll be able to finally see what these stories were like for any new players out there. You'll be able to experience them. And they're fun little stories. They're not like too in-depth, but it's something that I always actually wondered if they would add in the game at some point, just to have as an archive, you know? And they're finally doing it. So very, very excited for this. Replay options will also be added for the opening stories of Guild Raid, Gloopy Diner, Golden Coliseum, and Fishing in Fantasia Square. Yeah, the Guild Raid one was like, if you're a new player and you obviously most likely saw the story, it was a very short story. It's like how Golden Coliseum was and Mirror Wars was. So short little stories, or yeah. They'll be adding them now. Okay. I'm going to skip the Tower of Salvation just because it wasn't too much with it. And I want to get to more of the, I guess you could say, highlighted notes for this. Okay, so the option refinement improvements. Okay, so this was a big one that they announced back, I believe, in their 2.5 live stream when they were talking about this. So now it's happening. Okay, so I'm going to read it. You can now select Basic Attribute 1 for exclusive gears as desired. Changing Basic Attribute 1 does not consume any currency, and the desired option can be selected. In addition, base attributes available on crafted gear can now also be set on exclusive gears, allowing for more flexible option setups. So basically, in a nutshell, I'll give you an example. So with Lothal, right? Say if you wanted to go into combat with him, right, but you wanted some defense. However, his exclusive gear is an armor type, right, for his torso. But the basic attribute is an attack percentage, I believe. So the thing is, if you're going up against Fiend Hunter bosses, right, you want to have if it's either a physical type, then you want defense, right? If you're going up against a magic type, you want some magic resistance, right? However, thing was, Lothal could never really use his gear because they didn't have a basic attribute slot that you could fix it with, right? So you had to use like a UR crafted gear on him instead. But it was like, what was the point then with his exclusive gear, right? Other than maybe using it for if you were using him as a DPS unit with his other costumes. That's really about it, right? But a lot of us use Homunculus Lothal for support. So yeah, that's what I mean by this. So that was an example. So now you're going to be able to switch these for free. And if you look here, this is actually Dalviz, right? And if you look here, you see like there's two lines if you look closely. And you're able to now switch them. And it looks like you can switch them back and forth. It's not like you overtake the other one. Because it's looking like you can just switch because they have arrows. You see the arrows? So you can either go from the other one or go back to the new one that you have set up. And they said it isn't going to cost you any material. So that's another excellent thing. So there you have it. Right? Refining stone improvements. Okay, so this was also another big thing that they announced. Refining stones can now be used in option refinement. In gear option refinement, 10 refining stones can be used as one refining crystal. Refinement will consume refining stones first. If there are not enough refining stones, both refining stones and refining crystals can be used together. This works in a similar way to using draw tickets and diamonds. So basically, the one biggest thing that people had an issue with was that they could not use their refining stones. And what are refining stones? Well, refining stones are basically like refining crystal, except refining stones are only used to change the substats of like lower gear tiers. So like the green and the blue ones. But none of us use those, obviously. So a lot of us just had all this refining stone just sitting in our inventory, not doing anything. So now this is now a way where we can use refining stones for something. And believe me, I know a lot of us have a lot of that just sitting in our inventory, you know? So in the comparison to the draw tickets and the diamonds, it's basically like, so in this case, refining stone would be draw tickets. So you use those first, right? And then once you run out, obviously that's when you break out your gems, in this case being the refining crystal, Does that make sense? I think that was an excellent way of putting it when they talked about it in their live stream. So yeah, there you have it with the gear. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And obviously I'll be showcasing it when I do my, my video on it. Okay, so this is going to be a very big one, guys, okay? The future plans for the story. Okay, so before we hop into this, right? Let me do this real quick first. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to blow my nose and I did not want you hearing all that. Okay, so before we hop into it, now this was something of a concern. So for anybody like myself that is very worried about the change of the main story, okay? Unfortunately, I come bearing sad news. So I'm going to read what they put here, okay, first, and then I'll discuss a little bit about it. Does that sound good? Okay. So, at launch, Brown Dust 2 began with a focus on classic JRPG-style storytelling, featuring both male and female characters. After the release of Eclipse in December 2023, the game's direction shifted towards a greater emphasis on character illustrations with stronger visual appeal, which led to the addition of new players. To expand first-person interaction with characters, Gloopy Diner and Faded Guest content were introduced in December 2024. In August of 2025, the game's slogan was changed to Full Burst RPG. As the service direction has changed over time, differences have gradually emerged between the expectations of longtime players and newer players regarding story content. Previously, we shared that romantic elements involving existing characters would be reduced or removed. However, the scope of these changes was not clearly defined at the time. To address this, we would like to clarify the range of adjustments that will be applied going forward. Okay, so I'm going to read what they're changing with this, okay? And then we'll discuss about it, okay? So here's the timeline of what, of all the releases of what happened with update roadmaps, right? So romance content adjustments, retaining relationship elements. So we have Leatrice, Samae, Leclis, Rue, and Emma. So let me read it here. In Brown Dust 2, the characters who have clearly expressed romantic feelings are Leatrice, Samae, and Leclis. Their existing romance settings will remain in place, and they will not pursue a romantic relationship with the player in the future. We understand that some players may feel uncomfortable with the relationships Rue/Ulstein and Emma and Jaden, but we won't be making any changes to them. That said, these characters won't pursue a romantic relationship with the player either. So, in a nutshell, basically, Leatrice, Samae, Leclis, Rue, and Emma, they're standing with, I guess, the master in this sense being us, the player. We won't have any sort of romantic interest, dialogue, or anything like that with them. That's basically what they're saying. So Leatrice and Gray are going to be a thing still, right? I guess the one-sided love with Leatrice. Samae and Cry are a couple in the game. That's stated even in their character pack with Jaden's Gate. Okay, Leclis actually has the hots for Lathel in Fire Chip, okay? Okay, so Rue and Ulstein, obviously in the main story, you see their relationship, right? Ulstein protects and oversees Rue. Rue protects Ulstein, right? And then Emma and Jaden. Obviously, Jaden has the hots for Emma, but Emma, she doesn't. At least I don't think she does. But it's not as stated with it. But yeah, so that's what their relationship is like in the game. Now, this is something. Okay, so let me talk about this first, okay? And then we'll discuss. Reducing relationship elements. So we have Eustia, Shada, Olivia, Eclipse, and Celia. Romantic elements will be clearly removed for Eustia, Shada, Eclipse, and Celia based on existing settings. The relationships between Eustia and Lathel and Shada and Gray are defined as bonds formed through shared adventures, not as established romantic relationships. These settings will be clarified in the upcoming story pack one renewal. Eclipse's mentor will be changed from a male character to a female character. Celia's profile and the final cookie scene in Story Pack 6 will also be updated. For Olivia, the setting that she is Yusia's mother will remain, which all references to her husband will be removed. Accordingly, the Going Home season event story will be removed. I know. These changes will apply to parallel worlds as well. 2 new romantic elements between characters will be added going forward. The Going Home season event is being removed due to both its romantic elements and overall story structure. If the event returns through a future renewal, the husband-related storyline will not be included. Okay. Let's take a moment to just, like, take in what just happened. Okay, so obviously, me as a player, as somebody that's played this game for a long time as well, I'm not happy with it. Along with a lot of the veterans in the game, they're not happy with it. I can say this because when I was in that live stream chat, and also this has been brought up multiple times in this matter, in a lot of live stream chats, when they had their like live streams of like the updates, and this was always a thing that was brought up with the main story. Again, people were they were not having it. They were going insane because obviously, yeah, this is, they're taking out more lore from the game, especially Olivia. The Going Home season event story was incredible. So, like, for them to just remove everything about that, it just shows you they aren't really taking any of, like, what the veterans of the game are saying, what even newer players that enjoyed the direction with it are saying either in surveys, in their live stream chats. So it seems like they're only catering towards certain groups of people that want these changes made. That's how it seems like to us, at least, and to me even, when I look at this situation. Because I'm like, you have all these people, all these players that don't want this to happen, but they're doing it. So this might be what the devs are envisioning themselves. And so they're not taking, I guess, our opinions on these surveys to heart, and they're just doing this. I don't know. All I know is that a lot of players do not want these changes to be made. And now it's not just Olivia and the Going Home season event story that's being completely removed from the game, right? They're also changing the entire story with also Eclipse, right? Celia's little story pack ending that she had when she met, I think his name was Fabian, right? Yeah, so, and also the thing with Yusti and Latho and Char and Gray, they've been together for like, what, 2.5 years, right? And they experienced so much together, right? We as the audience who have played the game for a long time have seen them grow together, right? And to just have that completely gone, is a disappointment. Now, I could understand if, like, let's say Brownless 2 was a new game, right? And this was being changed in the beginning, then yeah, I could see that being okay. But no, this didn't just happen, right? They've been together for a very long time. And obviously the story themselves was remained the same place for a very long time. So yeah, it's very disappointing to see this happen, right? And even the Going Home, like I said, season event story just being completely removed. Now, this also is something I wanted to ask you guys this. So if they're removing all of this, especially with the Going Home, now, remember, there was wallpaper that went along with the Going Home season pack. So are they going to also remove that from the game? Because it also has Hanson in some of them, right? So think about it. Are they going to remove the wallpaper pertaining to the Going Home? Or are they going to keep it for those players that played it and have the wallpaper, and they're just going to let us have it just to have it still? I don't know. it actually, and this is also going to go into something later down in this as well, like after I read this, because I'm going to bring it back up again, okay? Because if you think about this, if they're rewriting everything in the story from chapter 1 through 19, is the wallpaper art going to be affected? I don't know. They could have players, like I said, they could have the ones that played the story throughout it from the very start, right? Before these changes be made, keep it. Or they might remove it. And then it'll be like replaced one day. We'll log into the game and then it'll just be changed. I don't know. We'll have to see about it, okay? But yeah, this is very disappointing. This is like one of the biggest L's, I would say, that this update had. Or the news, I should say, of the update. But let's go now to how the Master will appear in Part 2. So, next is an update on how the Master will appear in the first-person story. This story won't begin with only the premise of a chef entering a fantasy world. Gloopy Diner, where the Master's story takes place, is set as a passage that connects all parallel worlds, and the story will unfold around this setting together with Vela, a supporting character. Rather than showing a strong, fixed personality, the Master will be portrayed in a way that allows players to naturally project themselves. The Master will serve as a link for interacting with characters across the parallel worlds. The first-person story was originally scheduled for May, but additional review was needed to improve the settings, so the schedule has been moved to July. As a result, the pack update schedule will change as follows. So in March, we're going to be having Story Pack 20, which is the Night World. April, Character Pack 9, which, Character Pack 9. June 2026 Event Pack. And then July, the start of Story Pack Part 2. Now that's with us, the Master self-insert. So this is how they're going to go in the direction of this. Guys, I honestly don't want this game turning into another, like, big harem. But that's what this is going to happen. So much like how Nikke is, Snowbreak is, right, with the harem, this is actually what they're going to do with it. I know it sucks because this literally had a different direction compared to other games when they had the entire separation of the Gloopy Diner and the main story. It actually is what made this game stand out a lot more from other gachas because it never catered to one direction with it. And you were able to have the best of both worlds was because the Gloopy Diner was more so for us being the self-insert, but having a great time with the ladies in the game, right? And having our stories with them, right? Completely separate. It worked. And then you had the main story, which had the more serious notes when you had the relationships with everybody else from the main game, right? And people were happy with it. We were honestly content with it. And then this big change happened because people started to scream the loudest. And because, I mean, like, what else could it have been to cause this, right? Because I really doubt the devs woke up one day and were like, you know what? Let's just rewrite the entire story. You know what I'm saying? I doubt that was like the first thing that happened, So that's what I mean. Like, something outside clearly influenced this decision making really, really, like, bad. So yeah, so guys, I don't know if veterans are really gonna stay for this. Hell, I'm not even sure if newer players, because there were a lot of newer players I remember seeing in chat that really didn't like this direction either. They actually preferred, the way it was. I know that Brown Nest 2 doesn't have a huge, like, story, grab. But the thing is, it didn't make the story bad. It was just that it needed to be fleshed out. It was very easy to do in my eyes. All they had to do was add some event stories, seasonal event stories, fleshing out either character backgrounds, like how they did with Blade and Liberta. Olivier's going home, right? That's all they had to do, with other characters. I would have loved to have seen, like, Eclipse and how she was when she was, like, fighting back then, it would have been awesome to see that, you know? But yeah, so this is it, guys. We have received both anticipation and concerns, and will continue preparing carefully to deliver the update. Okay, so this is Brownness 2 and a third-party consulting disclosure from let's see, working with JX Comics. So I'm just gonna read. Yeah, let me just read this real quick. Many of you have been asking about the status of the Story Pack 1 renewal, so we'd like to briefly introduce our partner and share the current progress. We're working with JQ Comics, a studio specializing in webtoon and web novel production. JQ Comics is known for titles such as The Greatest Estate Developer and The Night Only Lives Today, which ranked highly in their respective categories on Navarre Webtoon. The renewal is being developed in collaboration with an experienced writing team, including, I'm going to do my best to pronounce these names, so I do apologize if I mispronounce them. Jeonbyum Lee and Huemin Lee. For early concepts through the ending, the team has been reviewing and refining the story structure through multiple rounds of discussion, and I do hope I pronounced those correctly. I do apologize if I didn't. The focus of the work is on strengthening earlier immersion and smoothing the overall writing style, and we are receiving ongoing guidance throughout the process. As the renewal involves reviewing and revising the full scope of story packs 1 through 19, progress is taking longer than initially expected. Script work is currently underway for packs 1 through 3, but during writing, additional revisions have been identified that require returning to pack 1. Once the content reaches a stage where details can be shared more clearly, we will provide a more organized update at a later time. And by the way, going back to how all this is going to be rewritten, they did also say in their live stream that they are going to have VA brought back into this. So you are going to be having voiceover, but still. It's just that a lot of this is taking up a lot more resources, considering that they're revising everything. Like, this is another note I want to make, right? It's going to take a lot of resources and a lot of time, which they could be putting into other things with the game as well. But yeah. So, just want to state that. Okay, so here's the last part, which will be in this video. It's going to be the March update preview. Now, we're going to go back into some wins with this one, okay? We got past, the hurt with that other one, other news I just said. But here we have the March update preview. So, basically, in a nutshell, they're going to be celebrating their 100th day milestone, right, in March. And here is also the world of the Night World. So for Story Pack 20 will be updated. The setting will shift from the surface world to the Night World. The story will focus on a journey shared by Justia, Liberta, and Blade, with new characters also making their appearance. So these new characters actually are going to be Mamonir. Yes, Mamonir finally making her return. So if you want, to look at some screenshots here, there you have them, right? Some art. This is the new Reverie that's going to be introduced, Palais. Okay? I know, she's got some crazy eyes. I'm very much looking forward to her, Here's Olivia's faded cutscene. We'll get into that. I'm not going to linger on them just because, don't want YouTube striking me down again. But let me discuss this. So, Mamonir, okay? So, in case you guys don't know, this is her from Brave 9, right? This is her. She also appeared in past season event stories, like the summer ones. She was in both Summer Night and she was on Beach Vacation, right? So she was an NPC at the time, though. But now, just like Valje and... Oh, whoa, hold up. My bad. That was a cosplay. But I was trying to show you Vina. Oh, my God. I was going to cosplay. But, hey, man, okay, in my defense, that cosplay was very good what they did with with Zenith, okay? It was on the subreddit. I just happened to come across it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really good cosplay. Anyway, here's the Mamonir. Okay, Mamonir. Okay, let's move past that. Okay, Mamonir, here she is. Right? God, that was so embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing. You know what? I'm not embarrassed by that. Okay, say what you want. But that was a wonderful cosplay of Zenith. Okay? But anyway, Mamonir. So here she is, right? So if we go and take a look back at the dev notes again, right? She's going to be making her appearance now after all this time. So as you can tell by this point, Vina, Valje, and Mamanir are all going to be from the Night World, right? So I'm very excited to see even more characters. So that also, you know, asks a question: how many from the Night World are we going to see in this new story now, right? So we could actually get even more. You know, we could get even more now, and not just the Reveries. So very much looking forward to seeing who else they have to offer. And in case you want some more, like, I guess, references to Brave 9, you can play the game for free on Steam and just log into the game. It's not actually a lot of space, by the way. It's very little storage space. And you can just look at the entire, like, profiles of every single female character from the Night World actually in Brave 9 if you want to. And then you can get a little glimpse on, you know, if they'll make an appearance, who you want to see in the game as well, right? But yeah, so there you have it. And like I said, in case you want to go back and pause in this video, you know, Mamanir and Palais, the 12th Reverie, feel free to do so. Now, as for the Fated Guest, yes, that was Olivia. You did see a little bit more with Olivia, right? Okay, so Olivia basically has, she's going to be using her wand in that interaction scene. It's a Fated Guest. So this was something that a lot of players were very excited for, I'm sure. So she's finally going to have it. Okay, she's finally going to have it. All you need to do to get that interaction scene with her is you just need to unlock her one time, and that's it. Okay, that's all you got to do. So that's what I wanted to say about her. I would honestly show you a little bit more on screen with, you know, with Olivia, but don't want my video again getting, you know, hits. But yeah, here is the 1000th day celebration. So obviously we see Yoridoro, right? Here she is. Now for the celebration, they're basically just gonna have some events. Can't go too high there. I know Olivia is packing some serious assets there. But yeah, so they're also gonna have a new minigame in Celebration 2 as well. And obviously we see the Yoridoro. I'm also assuming that this is also like the Chinese New Year that they're gonna be having. That's really cute. You see like the lanterns? They're all in the shape of Yoridoro. That's so fucking cute. Okay, so new special skin. Gonna have you look at it. Feel free to pause it, right? So that's also gonna be another thing added as well. And let me just read it here. And also a new guild raid boss. So yeah, they're going with a, let's just say a very built, well, let me just outright say it. The new guild raid boss does look incredible. And she does look sexy. Yeah, she does. Okay, guys? She does look sexy. Okay? She does. So here's the art for her. So to commemorate the 1000th day milestone, various updates are planned, including a new battle content, Taurus Tactics Manual, a new Plaza event, a new guild raid boss, one new special skin along with the renewal and rerun of Zenith's Prestige skin, fast skip for Golden Coliseum battles, Mirror Wars speed increased up to 40 times, so that's really fast, cooking favorites and bulk purchase options, and special 1000th day anniversary events with various rewards. So there you have it. There is the latest with the 1000th day celebration, right? I'm going to skip this because it's not as, you know, I would say for this update. I just wanted to get to the point. I believe that's really it. Other than the submitted Q&A, and you know what? Actually, let me just play this for you guys because I really feel that this should just cover a lot of what has happened with the censorship itself, because I think this was pretty important. So I'm actually going to let them talk about it so that you guys hear it from them and not just a dev note. Okay? So this goes back to what happened back in, obviously, in January, right? When the live stream happened and the entire thing with Teresa and the other costumes, right? Seer, Rue, and Refi. So this also is going to cover the entire situation with Ventana and her interaction scenes, what happened with the black bars. Gami, he is going to explain it. So for everybody out there that is still on this censor, you know, ship topic and is still doubting the devs on this, and if you're still watching this video up until this point, just hear them and then make your own judgment call on this, okay? Because I think by now we should really lay that to rest and move on, okay? Obviously, you've seen the new skill cutscenes with Deanna and Olivia. You've seen how even if you look closely at them, the art of it, you do actually see them reveal more areola on them. And it's true. But you have to look at the, obviously in the video. But the thing is, you can also see it even in the artwork on their dev notes. I mean, you literally saw it even in Onsen Blade's skill cutscene. Like, if you actually zoom in the wallpaper, you actually do see it. It's very noticeable for Blade. Okay? If you compare it side by side with Onsen Blade and then Onsen Ventanas from last year, oh yeah, you do notice a considerable difference. So yeah, this is what I mean. Like, the censorship thing, guys, is not going to be on the table, and you should not be worried about it. Okay? They are actually showcasing. I did also mention this too, I believe, in my last video, even discussing the areola thing, where they sat down with the KR community, right? And one of the questions posed was, are they going to show more of it? And the devs did confirm that yes, they are. And it clearly showed in Onsen Blade's skill cutscene, as well as Liberta's wallpaper when you collect it after completing Yoma Busters, the one where she's being fanned by the yokai. You do actually notice it too. And even in these new skill cutscenes, Deanna, if you look closely, you can see it, as well as Olivia. So, just want to point that out. But anyway, I'm going to play the video. Going to have you guys listen to it, hear what they have to say for both the censorship and Ventana. And then, that'll most likely wrap up this entire video. So, here you go.
First, the Q&A held after the censorship reversal. And second, the first Korean player meeting, fan meeting. And third, interviews and on-site questions from the Taipei game show. And fourth, the global pre-broadcast Q&A across all regions. We've compiled similar questions into a list of 30, and I'll go through them one by one. So we've gathered 30 questions total, and for the Korean meeting specifically, we'll gather all those answers after our second session and post them all together.
Yeah, this is the first category of our Q&A. It's about ops and communication. The first question is about the dev team's final stance on the censorship issue.
Our core commitment to Brown Dust 2 remains unchanged. We won't ruin what you love about this game just to chase mass appeal. As platform policies get stricter, we'll make sure there is always a place where you can experience Brown Dust 2 with total creative freedom. We're actively working on our own PC version and partnering with platforms like One Store and Japan's DMM. We'll share the details as soon as they are ready. No matter what, we'll protect your right to enjoy the uncensored version of the game.
Yes, and as Junie mentioned, just to be clear, there are no plans to go on Steam, and a lot of you have actually raised your voice or questioned whether if the censorship is because of Steam, but once again, I'd like to emphasize that there are no plans to go on Steam, and there won't be during the service period. After announcing the Steam cancellation, we did get offers from other platforms as alternatives, but once reviews have started, they asked for changes to certain expressions, and we ultimately said no to stick to our standards. So going forward, we will only launch on platforms that respect our style.
Regarding Ventana, the dark area, can I actually make a comment? I think it's going to take up a little bit of the time. Regarding the Ventana, the dark side, I think a lot of questions have been asked, and this is off script. I'm just going to share my thoughts. So when I was working on Ventana's interactions, it's Ventana, and it was an interaction. It's going to be an interaction on the bed and also on the hot spring. But I think it was a failed attempt, and I believe that it was a not a very thorough inspection that was done. I actually wanted to show what Ventana was doing through the interaction, and then I was thinking of also adding ASMR. And I was thinking that maybe adding some sort of that effect will create the feeling that I was going for. But I think I was too deeply into the idea of realizing my idea, and I wasn't really thinking about it very thoroughly. So I think all in all, it led to very poor direction and production. So I apologize sincerely for the black screen issue with Ventana. If I had actually intentions for censorship, I would have done something about the outfits or some other parts of her body. But the reason I had the black screen is because I was actually going for something else. I was so deep in my idea that I wasn't really sure how it was going to be seen by the players. So it was very a very messy mistake on my part.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Origami, for that. And let's move on to the second question.
Okay, so that's basically what has happened with the take on it. And now that you got the answer from Gami himself too regarding even Ventana and everything else with the turn downs of other offers from other platforms, right? This should show you in a lot of ways that, you know, they are very serious, even more so ever since that last incident happened, that they want to still run with the core direction of the uncensored content. Obviously is what makes this game stand out from every other gacha game, okay? So, yeah. I know that even still it might seem like, you know, but, you know, even though they say that, I still want to see it. I can understand. I understand still, okay? But I still feel that we should honestly move on from the situation that happened last month and give them a lot of more of a chance here to show that, you know, they're very serious. Because believe me, guys, that was a very big deal that happened last month. And I can imagine even in the KR community, that must have caused for them, you know. Now, mind you guys, that was on regional management's, you know, and that's mostly was their fault. The devs were basically like the scapegoats in this case, where they took the heat for all this, okay? Yeah, the one thing that I'll hold them accountable for is they should have, you know, gave us more information on like what was going on in the background with all like a lot of other things. But seeing as how it was around the 2.5 anniversary, I can understand why they might not have wanted to. But still, giving the community a heads up, yes, that would have been very important to do. I get that. That's why I still hold them accountable for that. However, for everything else, I doubt they ever wanted to censor anything in the first place, because at this point, why would you do it, right? But anyway, that's all I wanted to show you, and I hope you guys at least got to, you know, at least hear what they had to say on the matter, okay, at the end of this video. And the thing with the regaining the trust, basically what they're going to be doing is they're going to be well, from what they said now, and they said they're going to be showing, I guess, the rough sketches with the dev notes, basically. I think that's basically what they said. Well, let's hear what they have to say for this one, because I believe that's what they were saying with it, at least.
Now, after the censorship issue or controversy, what steps are you taking to rebuild player trust? Because there were Ventana issues.
Like we showed today, we'll show rough sketches of major animations beforehand. If anything changes in the final version, we'll explain exactly why.
Okay, so yeah, I was right. So they're going to be showing rough sketches of like anything future animation-wise, design-wise, arts. They'll show it first in their dev notes, like they did with Palais from the 12 Reveries, right? And Mamonir as well. So I would say that's a good step. Honestly, that's a great step, in fact. And I don't think, like I said, a lot of it should be, you know, taken strongly now where we're holding them so accountable at this point, right? We need to move on, guys. So that's it. That'll do for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Obviously, there was a lot of Q&A questions and a lot of this too. In regards also to the collaboration, because that was something that I believe a lot of players also were wanting to know about. They don't have any details on it. All we know is from what they said in their last live stream was that they're going to be basically having a collaboration, but I believe it's going to be a rerun. So the Sunrun Kagura collab, which happened after Mushoku Tensei, that's going to be your rerun. So it's going to be held in April, if I remember correctly, the schedule behind it. Because I believe they did put a schedule with like the first half of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's it. It's gonna do for the video. But yeah, if you want to save up for the collaboration, I would do so now, because Olivia and Deanna, they'll be added to the Power of Hope shop, and also you can get them in the Golden Thread shop as well. But yeah, I would at least get, most likely, how I see it, one copy for each of them. So you unlock them, get a copy. But obviously, I can't say any details on it because we don't have the dev notes for it yet. But when we get closer, I'll go over them. But anyway, thank you for coming on out. I do appreciate it. And I really hope that this helped you guys out understand the new future direction with some things. And then other things, I know we'll just have to see. Take care, guys. And I'll catch you in the next. See ya.